What up, gamers? Welcome back to Gamers Bay, and today we're going to take a look back at the classic arcade racing game, Turbo Outrun. First launched in 1989, Turbo Outrun was the follow-up to Sega's original Outrun from 1986. Of course, with a number of unique differences. Players raced with a Ferrari F40 across the continental United States from New York to Los Angeles, racing against a clock that's always ticking down. You were tasked with reaching certain checkpoints in a given period of time, or forced to dump in more quarters to keep the game going. The game featured constantly changing scenery and weather conditions, sometimes driving in snow, dirt, and upon winding highways. So the checkpoints, basically, every time you pass a checkpoint, you're basically hitting a new city, a new scenery, and a new environment as far as your weather conditions goes. You can see that here we've got rain and cloud cover, and then of course you're back into dry ground again. So the game also featured a number of computer-controlled opponents, including a Porsche 959 and a police cruiser that would both try to throw you off course. Then of course there was these larger semi-trucks. If they ram you, you're gonna flip your Ferrari. Your vehicle would flip over and you would basically have to respawn again. The game featured a turbo meter that, when low enough, could be hit to unleash several seconds of boost, and that was something that was not included in the original Outrun. It was something that was included later on, along with the CPU-controlled Porsche 959. There were several cabinet styles to the arcade ports. There was an upright cabinet, there was a full sit-down cabinet, and I believe there was a dual sit-down cabinet as well, although a little bit more rare. As with many racing games of the time, Turbo Outrun offered the ability to choose between automatic and manual transmissions. The game would often mock players who lost a race by sending your girlfriend to ride with the Porsche 959 opponent instead. So that was pretty interesting. If you would lose a stage, your girlfriend would end up with your opponent, and then if you win the next stage, the game would give you back your girlfriend again. So it was pretty neat how they did that. Now, by today's standards, this game really isn't anything to write home about. It doesn't seem like it's much to get excited about, but nonetheless, for the time, it was considered to be extremely innovative. And it boasts state-of-the-art graphics during the era. We're talking 1989. You know, most home consoles had really choppy 8-bit blocky graphics, and this was like, you know, better than anything you could have gotten a home console back in those days. You know, Sega Genesis had just been released. It had some pretty good games, but they really couldn't compete with the arcade ports. And you know, there were other racing titles too from the time that were really similar to this. You had Rad Racer on the original NES. You may remember that game if you've ever played it. It's just, you know, it's got the same forward-scrolling elements where it seems like the elements are actually moving past you rather than you moving forward, kind of like with Turbo Outrun. Although didn't have as intuitive of graphics as what this game did, or even the original Outrun for that. People really liked the soundtrack on this game. That was one of the things that made it really, really popular. It had full stereo sound in the arcade. You know, it was really an entertaining experience. You had this large, imposing, upright cabinet with a steering wheel, with a brake pedal and a gas pedal, and you had this blaring stereo soundtrack going in the background. And so that really helped to pull people into this game. But for the most part, it's very, very repetitive. The further that you got into this game, you can see you have oil slicks, you have wet ground that you're driving on, you're driving over rocks in some areas. It really gets to the point where it's like, it doesn't matter how good you are at braking or letting off of your gas or spinning around those corners, you're going to get slammed off course, you're going to get thrown off, and your Ferrari's going to get flipped over, and you're going to have to respawn. And that was how they made money on this game. That was the whole purpose. You know, if you didn't die in the arcade game, then how could they get you to insert more quarters so they could make more money? And let's face it, that's what these games were built for. They were built this was business. You know, the people bought these machines to make money. People had arcades to make a profit, and that was their purpose. And that was why they had a time limit here. If you didn't make it to the next checkpoint by a certain time limit, so you can see my clock is about to run out. There, I just passed the 3-second mark. And, you know, you would have to just basically restart over again, shovel in more quarters and start back off for the last checkpoint of where you were. So, you know, you get thrown off a lot. Like you see right there, you know, you hit these barrels on the side of the road, you get pulled in too far into the trees, you're gonna flip. The opponents aren't that bad. They're kind of aggressive at times. They can knock you, but you can knock them back. Like the Porsche, he'll pass you at times, and then you'll speed up and catch up to him with your turbo boost. And then if you can get him close enough to the edge of the map, you can really knock him out. And he'll like make this screeching noise when he flips his vehicle. So we played into like, I think like the 8th or 9th stage or something like that in this playthrough. We're actually running this in MAME. It actually runs the arcade game really, really well. The original Outrun, like I said, didn't have a lot of the really cool features that you had in this one, like the turbo effect, the turbo boost. Another thing you could do in this game that was really cool, at the end of each stage, you got to choose a power-up. You know, either for your tires, your engine, or your boost. So you could extend your turbo boost, you could extend the power and the speed of your Ferrari F40. You could basically increase your turbo boost, but you could only choose one at the end of each stage. And you can really see how they incorporated these effects in the game. You know what? If you choose the tire effect, you really do get better effects in the ground. You do get better grip, a little bit better control going around corners. If you choose the engine upgrades, your vehicle is faster in the maps. If you choose the turbo boost, you get a little bit longer turbo boost. I wouldn't necessarily say it's faster, but you get a longer duration with the turbo boost. But your gauge remains the same. And you can see once you hit that overheat, then once it hits the top, the overheat box there, that you're pretty much out, and you have to wait to cool off again to where you reach the yellow levels. The yellow levels, then you can hit your boost again, and you've got about 5 seconds or so before your boost is going to run out. Nonetheless, it's a really cool game. Like I said, by today's standards, it's not, you know, it's not Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. You know, there's games that just blow this away. Like I said, it's a lot closer to Rad Racer or something of you know, the other games from that era, from the late 1980s, early 1990s era. Anyways, many thanks for watching. Definitely feel free to watch the rest of the video. I'm going to let it continue to run. And if you haven't checked out our community on Google+, we're going to put a link below in the description. You're welcome to check out Gamers Bay Community on Google+. Follow our brand page to stay up to date with the latest gaming news. And be sure to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.